Good afternoon and welcome to On the Spot Motorsports Media. I'm your host, Mitchell Gunner, along with Robert Simpson, that's fixing to join us here shortly. Tonight we got a great show. We have Paul Allen that's going to be joining us. He just won his first championship out of Gainesville Raceway in the pro class. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what he expects up in South Carolina at Carolina Dragway for the NHRA Division Bracket Finals. That is Division 2. But before we get into that, we want to give support for those who supports us.
Hey Tornado fans, this is Kurt Miracle of Miracle Automotive and Towing, proud sponsors of Tornado Football. I want to welcome you to beautiful Stark, Florida at David Hurst Stadium, and thank you for letting us be a part of this community. We're here for more than your automotive and towing needs. We're here to be part of Tornado Country. Go Big Red!
60 years of innovation, 60 years of attention to detail, 60 years of rigorous testing under race conditions is what makes ATI Performance Products great. ATI has been helping racers like you reach the finish line first. Today, we manufacture a wide range of high-performance parts that are track-tested and race-proven. We're passionate about performance, and that passion is what drives you to the finish line first. See everything ATI has to offer at ATIRacing.com.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight as we have Robert Simpson and we have Paul Allen. Paul, I want to thank you for you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here tonight to talk about your championship, your first championship at Gainesville Raceway. And also we have the Division II bracket finals up in South Carolina Dragway coming up here just next following weekend. So, which we're all looking forward to that. First of all, Paul, if you don't mind, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm, as you said, my name is Paul Allen. I'm a racer at Gainesville Raceway, and I'm 56 years old. I own an electrical contracting business and small business out in Middleburg, Black Creek Electrical Services. Followed the drag racing, got the drag racing bug when I was about 15 or 16 years old. I skipped school to go to my first Gator Nationals back in about 1980, 86, I think it was, and been hooked with the drag racing bug ever since. And then got to see the real deal of the Gators, and then we found out this thing called bracket racing. So we thought that was pretty cool. So we used to take our street cars out and actually try to go out there and try bracket racing, which we were horrendous at. But we raced at Jack's Raceways and Gainesville and wherever we could find a place to race. It was pretty cool. But I got the bug to build a car, and when I graduated from school in '85, we raced street cars and built my Maverick that I have now. I actually built that car and started it about 1986, 87, and got it on the track at Gainesville in about 88, about 90. I actually got it on the track to where I could actually had an engine transmission in it, built it with absolutely nothing. And doesn't look like it does in that picture, but it was, I painted it in my driveway with the original white car that it was a few years ago. And then about 1991, my wife announced that she was pregnant with our second child, and it was time to put the car away. So I ended up taking about a 25-year hiatus off to raise a family and start a business and do all that stuff. And then 2014, as a matter of fact, my Facebook memory showed up today that 2014 Today, I actually brought that car home from my buddy's shop in Green Cove Springs because Green Cove had opened a track, and my wife is like, "Holy smokes, what's out in the driveway? That's your old car." And I thought you sold that thing. I said, "No, I just had it in storage for 25 years. So what does that mean?" I said, "Well, I guess I'm going bracket racing again." So 14, I took the whole car back apart and started to try to do it the right way, the way it was, should have done. But I didn't have any money or any knowledge, so I tried to do it the right way this time, and come out pretty good. We had fun. I started in 2015 and Green Cove Dragway, and then moved over to Gainesville and been having a heck of a good time ever since. It's amazing how time flies, but like I said, my memory today was just getting the car back in 14 and kind of cool. So had the first bracket final I ever went to. They asked me to go to the IHRA championship and it's actually at Carolina Dragway. So that was my first championship ever that I actually got to attend, and it was probably one of the most humbling experiences of my lifetime. I don't think I got a win light the whole event because it was insane how good the racers were and how bad I was. So it's going to be kind of cool to go back there next week and, see how things have changed, and hopefully I've changed for the better and actually can turn a little bit of electricity on in the lane. So we're kind of excited about it.
Absolutely. I did not realize that you brought your car back out because Green Cove. I didn't realize that.
Well, when Green Cove, I had a buddy of mine that had a super gas car, and when I retired my car, the picture that was on Facebook, the white car, the buddy of mine that worked at the base with me, he's like, "Man," he goes, "since you're not going to use the car, could one of me and my buddies race the car?" I said, "Well, shoot, you could. I'm not going to do anything with it. I can't afford to mess with it right now." And so they did a couple of improvements on it. They raced it for about 6 months, and then the guy who had it, he lost interest in it. So they parked it in the corner of his garage, and I seen it a couple of times over that time when I'd visit, and had boxes and everything else sitting on top of it. And when I got the bug to go racing, I was racing with a buddy of mine, helping him with his Top Sportsman car back in 14, and got the bug real bad. I was thinking about building a car, and my buddy's like, "Man, why don't you come and get your old car and see what you can do with it and get it out of my garage? I need the space." And
that's what it come down to.
That's pretty but it was like, it's kind of cool. So that thing's been in the family so darn long, I can't get rid of it. So I figured I'll actually try to put it together instead of, complete junkyard parts and stuff that we could afford to do paycheck to paycheck. I actually went through the whole drivetrain and actually tried to do it the right way. And a lot of it's still original, but the white paint job that I started racing with I painted that car 25 years ago in my driveway with a urethane paint. It held up fairly well. So
I didn't know that. Yeah. It held up real good.
Car I ever did the body work and painted on it, and it was all right. People remember the white car. And then when COVID hit, Lou Galley was trying to keep some of his painters employed. So he painted my car and Jason Graham and a few others, to try to keep working. So that's how it came out where it is now. I sent it over to Lou when everything was closed. I said, "Just do your magic, do what you got to do." And I was going to make the car red because that was what it was. And then one of his painters like, "Man, look at that orange Maverick. It looks pretty cool." And then I said, "Man, it really does look good. It's different, And then I came up with a little black scheme, and we put it together, and it came out awesome. So it's been a lot of fun. That's my baby. So I just have a good time with it, and week in and week out, try to turn win lights on with it and just have a good time. And the camaraderie and the family and everybody that we race with is it's just what I do. It's so much fun. It's awesome.
Explain how competitive it is in that class. How hard it is to compete over there and be able to try to turn on some win lights in the final rounds and to win that championship.
Well, I'm prior to this season, I had only made it to 7 final rounds in my whole life. And one of them was this year. That was the 7th one. And then it took me 7 final rounds to actually get a win, which I got my first win this year. But when I first got back into bracket racing, I thought I knew a little bit about it, and because I'd done it a zillion years ago, and the game has changed so much over the years, you can't even compare to what it used to be. But it's when I came to even in Green Cove, I never did anything good at Green Cove. When they closed that track down, and I came over here where the big boys are at, I mean, I seen packages over there that was just insane. I'd go by and I'm thinking I'm doing real good, and I'm just getting stomped. So, kind of learn the basics of how to race, and it's not something that there's guys that are there that have been there for 20 something years plus, and them guys know what they're doing. And Gainesville's full of them. There's a lot of good racing, and there's a solid crowd. There's not many people there's no gimmies out in the pro class. There really isn't. Everybody come up there about time you think that you got yourself a duck, they're going to put you on the trailer. So it's not going to happen. And I used to be the duck, and I've tried to get rid of that moniker a little bit. So they don't, try not to get people chasing me up there too often anymore. But it's been a process, and I've learned from some of the very best that are there at that track, and tried to learn the game. And you learn to be competitive and to win there. You've got to be good on both ends of the track. You've got to be good on the tree. You got to know how to drive the car all the way through. And not that I've been improving a lot. So I'll just put it to you that way. I got a lot more to learn, because every time I think I know what's going on, I go get out there and get put on the trailer. But It's a tough game. So to be able to be in the position that I am in this year and have the kind of year that I have had is just nothing sort of amazing, because to do that against the competition that we've got at that track I don't take any of that lightly, because them guys they're good week in and week out. And just to be in that, I said last year, one of my goals was to be, in the conversation for the track championship. And I had a goal to be in the conversation for the track championship and to win my first race. My other goal was to win my second race, which I didn't quite do. I got close a couple times. I didn't quite get there, but to be able to win the track championship was very cool. That was a personal goal of mine, and didn't think it was possible, but I wanted to be at least in the conversation, and that I felt like I accomplished that, and I exceeded that goal, which was amazing. So very cool stuff.
And I could tell you, Paul, honestly, even before this year, your name was in many conversations. Okay, I'm saying way before this year, because as you know, more people watch you than you're aware of. And so to see not only the quality piece that you've built, but to say you're a solid driver and a racer is an understatement. I mean, you are an excellent racer and driver and mechanic, you name it. You're everything. So you more than earned it this year.
Well, I at it, and just be able to I do work at it hard. It's one of those things that anybody that knows me or knows me personally and what we do, and I don't show up to the track just on a whim. I try to be dedicated to run the practice on the tree, and I practice. I learn about driving. I had to pick up stuff that guys have been doing for their entire life, and try to condense the learning curve into a 5 or 7 year window. And I mean, to be able to do some of the things that these guys do in a race car is just unbelievable. I'd look at them, I'm going beside there thinking I'm doing real good, and these guys just bust your hide, and like, holy smokes, what happened? And then part of the learning curve is like, I know what they did now. I know a little bit about how that works, so that's it's part of the learning thing. You say everybody that's solid in their craft learns from the best. I do it professionally, and I try to be a student of the game if I can. In the bracket racing, because it's, like I said, it to me it's, and I don't get overly serious with it. It's life or death thing, but at the same time, I'm competitive. I like to win, and I want to be there. I have a good time, win or lose, but everybody that's at that track that's any good, y'all are the same way. You want to do your best every time you're out there. That's what you're there for. It's part of the fun. And
this guy right here, he's taught me a couple of lessons.
No, that goes back and forth, Mitchell. Paul's beat my backside more than once. So, we've all had fun racing each other. We all know what to expect from each other.
Well, you guys in sportsman class rip each other's faces off weekly. So pro guys, but you go out there, the pro guys are bad, but y'all are just brutal. Y'all just aren't even nice to each other. You go up there with a 005 light and you're leaving second. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, what's actually good is if you can do that with a sportsman car in pro.
That's it. It happens too. I've seen it.
It does happen. It does happen. But if you can do that against a pro car, like you say, at least you're there. Right. At least you're competitive. And but yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
That we race with week in and week out are just phenomenal. The last race of the season, we were in a three-way battle, and I had a 55 or 55 point lead on second, and there was a couple people that said, hey, you got this thing in the bag. I said, well, I beg to differ with you, because I happen to know both of the guys that are behind me, which was John Dwayne and Mike Gaffney. Mm-hmm. Both of them guys are solid as the day is long. I said, if I'm not on my game, I'm gonna be sitting at second or third, because it ain't no gimme. And I wanted to race it out and see what happened, and it actually couldn't have worked out any better than it did, because John did exactly what I figured he would do, which was run the table and go to the final. And I had him at the semis, and I had to make the ladder round to seal the deal, and I was solid all day until I got up against John and he fell out of the car. But at that point, I guess it didn't matter, but we were still out there trying to compete, and John's a heck of a racer. He taught me so much, and kudos to him. And Gaffney's always solid. He's a good dude, and just everybody at the track. But when I clinched that thing, it was pretty amazing moment. I had people that, as you say, you don't even think anybody pays attention to that stuff, and had people coming up and congratulate me, and it's just a humbling experience. I'm just humbled and just blessed to be there. The good Lord's blessed me in an amazing way, and I don't take any of that stuff lightly. It's just been an incredible experience. I kind of learned from, I'm a big fan of Luke Bagaki and his stuff. One of the things that he taught me and some of his teachings is, to enjoy the moment and live in the moment. And that's probably one of the best advices that I've gotten about changing my racing career, is that you go in there, and when you're racing in an event, whether it's the first round or the last round, if you can stop long enough to remember why you're there and enjoy, and take enough time to enjoy the moment, it kind of calms your nerves, and it actually makes you perform better. And I've never forgotten that. That's one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, because I used to get so nervous about who I was lined up against. Oh man, he goes, I got Mark Horton again, or I got stuff, or I got somebody. This day's wearing me out, man. So it's like, oh my God, here we go again. So you just don't worry about it. You just enjoy it. Say, hey man, you know what? Put your best lap down. If you get your lap down, ain't nobody gonna beat you. So if you do your job in the car, it don't matter what the other guy does. He's not going to beat you. So once you look at it from that perspective, it changed the way I did things, and just made it fun. It's a good time. And, I used to beat myself up real bad. My wife used to hate me after the races, because I'd be all down, just
grumpy
myself. And, I'm not that way anymore. I'll be upset about it, for a few minutes after I get out of the car. But once I get done, I did something stupid. I missed a tree or whatever. But it's all good. Just it all happens to us. But the main thing is just having fun and enjoying it, and the friendships we've got at the track, and just that whole camaraderie is it's incredible. I love it.
Yeah,
agreed.
Greg Turner says, congratulations, Paul. Good luck at the bracket finals.
See that. Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. We're going to try to represent well, and I'm excited about it. I'm so stoked. I was talking to Ernie Renfro and a couple of the guys that are here close to where I'm at. We were making plans today about towing up there together, and kind of convoying up there on Wednesday. We're going to get up there and get set up and get ready for Thursday morning's event. And
that's what I'm heading up to. I'm heading up Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, we'll be up there Wednesday, so we'll all get together, and it's just going to be. I'm so excited. The weather looks like it's going to be good, and it's going to be nice. And I love the House of Hook. That's one of my favorite tracks, and it's just absolutely just an absolutely great place to race. I don't know. I guess it's probably because it's one of my first events, So I went up there first couple of years. Like I said, just go up there and get stomped. I got a mud hole stomped in my backside first couple of years I went up there. But I remember the first wind light. It was just incredible. I mean, the first year, my best light of the whole weekend was like 005, and I was leaving second. And I'm like, man, what do I got to do to turn on the wind light on? It was just unreal. And then I think the next year I finally got a wind light or something, and it was like ecstatic, But
oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean when you say that. I get it. Sometimes it just takes a while for it to come, but it does.
Yeah, I tell you what, I get
a while, but it's fun. It's just try to you get there and you just try to take it one round at a time and try to learn the game. That's what I do. There's guys that got natural talent at this stuff. That ain't me. I'm one. I got to work at it because the natural talent. Just these guys can look at a race car and cut a 00 light without even having to get in it. But I'm not that guy. I have to work at it. So
yeah, same here.
And I think a lot of people don't understand the work that goes into preparing yourself to bracket race. Like you were talking about Luke Bagaki, there's a lot of mental things about that. And like you were saying, you have to go in there and not be worried about who's over in the other lane next to you, and become more relaxed. Because if you're tightened up and you're tensed, more than likely you're going to have an ugly light, or you're going to definitely go red. And but it is a lot of work training yourself mentally to stay calm in the situation. And I used to be the same way that you were when I first started out. When I lost, I was all upset, and then I started saying, I shouldn't be downing myself and putting that on me. What I should be doing is going back and rethinking all the steps that took place that led me to lose this race. Where did I mess up? Was it on the tree? Was it down at the top end? Did I get on the brakes too quickly? Should I not have gotten on the brakes? And those type of things of trying to fine tune myself. And I think that's a lot of the things when you get ready. You're not supposed to change your car. You have to do things to change yourself to be competitive in bracket racing.
Yeah, and that is true. It's one of the things I've learned over the years is that bracket racing is very similar. And I tell people that don't follow some of the same stuff I do, if they ask me advice, I tell them that I learned that the mechanics of bracket racing is like the mechanics of a free throw in basketball or swinging a golf club. If you read any of Luke's stuff, to go back to what he said, he's a big follower of a guy that is a coach for golfing, and I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but I've read his books, and he is a mental coach for professional golfers. And professional golfers, they get into the same rhythm, the same routine as a bracket racer.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that, and when you go up to cut a light, if you're thinking about that light, you probably ain't gonna cut it. It's got to be automatic. It's got to be as automatic as swinging a golf club against a driver. It's, you hit that club, you're not going to sit there and think about that drive. You're just going to go up there and go, okay, I'm going to do A, B, and C. And then your muscle memory takes over. You hit the club and you do it right. When you golf like I do, I think about it, and then I think about the tee and
I'm clearing everybody out is what I'm doing.
Then I put that thing right in the lake, So that's how I do it, and that's not the way you're supposed to do it. So but when I learned that you practice, you train and trust, because that's the process that a lot of these guys follow, and I've tried to follow. You train, and then you trust it, because we're all in a game. It's a matter of inches and a matter of milliseconds, and you're not going to think about. There's guys I watched a guy at Bristol back into me and take 001 stripe. And he gave it back to me 001 after letting me break out, and I watched this guy get around. He dropped me and back in and let me have the stripe by breakout. And I'm like, what just happened? And I watch this guy. He's got these $1 million bracket racing stickers on the side of his car, and he was one of the bad boys of the thing. He did one of the most marvelous stripe driving jobs that I've witnessed. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? But I mean, there's guys that say they can't measure that kind of stripe. Well, I think that guy can, but I certainly can't do it. I watched it. I thought it was cool, but I was on the end of it, but it was impressive.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been on the receiving end and watched it, and nothing I can do about it, and watched it. And was impressed.
Up there and seen the guy go to spot drop me, and I knew what he was doing, and he got ahead of me, and I caught the drop because I figured, I needed to catch it because I was breaking out. I knew I was a little fast. I stayed with him. Shoot, that guy got behind me 1 thou. I got the ticket to prove. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And he sent me through. Like, really?
Well,
and then I got so it was like, well, I'm done. But
it's like, I know you've run James Thompson before, right? Out of Orlando.
Yeah.
James Thompson's one of the best one for killing ET. And I've run it before and just watched him come up and just, like you said, back in, but he makes it look so easy. And I'm like going, how are you staring at me the whole time while ripping and dropping and know where the finish line's at while you're staring at me?
Well, those guys are really good at it. I are not one of them, but I am trying to learn. But there's guys that they're brutal at it. But it's a game that it takes a lifetime to perfect. And it's one of the things I like about it, I guess, because the bracket racing thing is like, they go, why do you like doing this? Why don't you just like to just go fast and go as fast as you can go? I said, because there's not near as much challenge in going, having the fastest card. All that means is you got the biggest pocketbook.
Right.
But we get up there and you watch this kid like the one that just won the OG million in a foot brake car, and went up there and a bottom bulbed his way all the way. Didn't even have enough money to make it to but one event, and he saved all his money. Open trailer comes in there and just busts these cats' butt. And I'm like, yeah, that's my hero. I like that. That's good.
He's a lot of people's hero. Slept in the tent and all.
He put one on him for those bottom bulbers, man. That was pretty cool, So give the kid all sorts of kudos for all that, man. That's what we all dream about, man, is to go up there, knock that thing out like that. That's what us bottom bulb guys, we love that stuff, and I thought that was amazing. So
it was.
He put on.
I was saying also Nasty Nick. Remember Nick Hastings? He was on I think the Thursday race, the 50K race up there in the OG Million.
He won the day before and off the foot.
Foot braking, like you said, foot braking off the bottom, and and yeah, I know you've watched him too, and he's just nasty no matter what he does. Yeah. Top, bottom, middle, doesn't matter. But it's still between that and then the no box guy, like you said, winning the OG Million. Yeah. I don't know what it is about Vegas at the OG, but there's been several Vegas, because I know a trip from here in Florida. I can't remember his first name, but he's won it twice, I think, with his Vega. This gentleman, and I think there was one other.
He'll be at the division. Dave
Triplett.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't want to.
He's tough as they come with that little Vega too. He's bad.
Oh yeah. But still, just something about a Vega at the OG that I like. Just because
it's super cool, man. Super cool. I like it.
It is.
But definitely, that's a good event. I was glad to see that happen. It's definitely a good moment for motorsports. But people ask me why I like bracket. That's kind of stuff like that just gets me going. And then I'm a techno guy, so if I can go out there and dial my car and get the thing to run within a few thousandths on a lap or a couple hundredths, to me that's mechanically sound. And if I can drive the darn thing halfway good, it's a good day. And that's what I like to do. I like that mechanical challenge and being able to tune and be able to get a car that's decent. And I think my car's pretty good. It's got improvements, but it, like anybody, you can always improve on a little bit. But I think I got a pretty good car. It's been really good this season. I'm hoping it'll continue that way. And so most of the time when I've lost a lap, it's not been on the car, it's been on the driver. If I can just stay, keep the nut behind the steering wheel tightened up, we can. Car's great. I've been tickled to death. I built an engine for it early. I freshened the engine earlier this year and went through the whole engine myself. My engine builder turned the block and the machine worked around over in a couple of weeks and allowed me to get the engine out of the car, get it to the machine shop. I tore it all down, sent the block to him, turned it around, and I put it all back together, had it in the car within the 30-day window between two races, and came back with a brand new engine, never been down the racetrack, and won the event. That was pretty cool.
I remember that because you were posting like got it running. It's like, I'm just exaggerating, like Friday afternoon or whatever like that, and getting it loaded up.
Really got it cranked up and got it running because it wouldn't run right. I had something screwy, the timing or something, and like, what the heck's going on? This thing ought to fire right up, and I couldn't get it fired. I got it fired Friday night in the trailer, loaded that thing up Saturday morning, and goes up there. Never been down the track before, and made one time hit, dialed it, and went down and won the race. That was pretty cool.
I remember that one. I remember that. That was good, for sure.
So tell us a little bit about your car. What cubic inch motor are you running in there, and what kind of ETs does your car normally run?
It'll run. It's a 72 Maverick. It's a car. As I told you earlier, I bought it as a car and put it all together. But it's got a 363 small block. It's got a power glide. Got a 5,000 stall converter in it. You got a regular brake in it. 456 gears. Runs a 28x10 tire on it. It's just your bracket. Typical bracket car. It's nothing real fancy, but it runs real good. It's I'm a Ford guy. I like Ford power and feel like if you got a Ford car, you ought to put a Ford engine in it. But people are like, why don't you have an LS in it? I said, well, because everybody else does, but just me. I like to be different because, you're a little slower. I said, if I ever get my 363 built the way I want it, pretty quick, because I've got a couple things wrong with it. I don't have the combination quite the way which I'm still working on. But we may be able to pick it up a little bit, but it'll run, in decent area. It'll run, 690s and high 680s. So I don't turn it up too much for what we're doing. So I'll run 7.0s, or I was running like 695 last weekend, and it'll run right at 100 mile an hour in the 8s. It's not the fastest thing out there. It's not the slowest, but it's a good competitive car. But it's running the numbers on it. It's been running dead on quite a bit. So like I said, if I get it down there and I just drive it properly, and if I need to hold it open and trust the car, it'll usually repeat pretty good. So it's pretty good for gasoline combination. It could improve a little bit on methanol, but I watch some guys on E85 and methanol, and their car's not moving. They're moving as much as mine, so I haven't made the swap. I think mine's pretty good.
You can change the gear and come on over and run Sportsman with us.
Yeah, I could do that too. I actually thought about running it there. I didn't want to get people upset because I've got a, quote unquote race car, but it definitely would be fun to do and run Sportsman. I like it. I do dabble in Super Pro a little bit, and I've enjoyed that. I'll probably run a little bit more of that next year. I've got a better radiator in the car, so I can heat out of it. I was running a stock radiator that I had in it since 1972, and it didn't like hot lapping real good.
I was going to say it got pretty warm in summertime, didn't it?
Yeah, it don't dissipate heat very well. So I bought a nice aluminum radiator at the beginning of last year and put it in there with a nice setup. So it's got a big triple core, so I can flip the fans on and get that thing cooled down pretty quick. It made a big consistency change in the car and just a nice add-on. It was real good, and
it's one less thing to worry about.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I put the biggest aluminum radiator I could in my car just for that, to run the double.
I had one of those in there 10 years ago, but I was too cheap to do it and too lazy to. Every time I think about it, I'm gonna go get one, and didn't do it. So.
Well, I understand the budget now. I totally understand the budget.
Yeah, it is. They can get expensive. I try to do this stuff on a budget. I don't spend an unlimited amount of money on stuff. I try to hold myself to being reasonable about what I do with it. So I make changes, and I want to do things the right way, but I don't go overboard and go crazy with it. So my car, relatively speaking, is a pretty budget build for what it is. I try to make the most out of what I got with what I got.
It really shows. I mean, your workmanship and craftsmanship on your car is really nice. Not only the color combination, but your headers that you built and all the little stuff that you've done to your car and built and put it together. It really shows. I mean, it's a really, really clean car. That picture does not give justice to how clean his car and straight his car is. You have to get up and walk around and see the little details. But I like the fact that the grabber hood, and it's not all cut up, has all the glass in it and everything like that. I mean, that's it's nice. It's nice that way.
I've tried to keep it where I kind of want to make it into like a pseudo stocker, like a stock eliminator car or something. I've been thinking about putting some carpet back in it, finish doing the interior, and that's one of my more near-term goals. I want to kind of just do that. I'm not so concerned about weight with it. I just like to finish it off and make it look like it's put maybe a passenger seat in it, a little couple new racing seats or something. Right. The original seat I got in it, I pulled out of a Fairmont back at 78 Fairmont and painted it black with vinyl paint. It's still in my car. So comfortable, I didn't want to get rid of it, but I actually got it at a junkyard when I first built the car. So it's kind of one of the original pieces in there. It's been in that car as long as I have been, and it's one of them funny things. But I've been wanting to get me a new Kirky seat or something, but I can't part ways with my old Fairmont seat.
Well, that's like people's asked me.
The shoe fits, right?
That's like people's asked me. Says, "Hey, won't you?" Because my Charger, it's they're heavy, they're really heavy cars, and they're like, "Won't you take this stuff out of here and put you some bucket racing seats in it, and put you a 5-point harness and this and that?" And I says, "Well, the reason why I keep it the way it is as much as possible is because I'm hoping one day that the NHRA will actually let Chargers, the Gen 3 Chargers, actually compete in stock eliminator."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you want to keep all those panels there, and you want that car pretty much all stock the way it came. And of course, then you start learning the rules and things that you can and cannot do from other competitors, to learn more as you get in it. I think it's one of those classes, if they ever let that opportunity come, I'll just jump in with both feet and just really suck at first and then work my way of learning to get where I really need to be.
it's a different world. It's competitive to no end, but it's definitely a different world, more performance orientated than obviously bracket racing, even though it has bracket racing with the dial-ins in it, but it has the basis of it is the performance base. And
Well,
that's cool.
It's about a quality build, and it's about getting everything out of your combination you can, and it's a whole different animal.
Exactly. And
You
I'm just like you, Paul. I feel the exact same way. I love the mechanical side of it, and I love trying to work on mine to make it more efficient and better for what I got without breaking the bank. Because
yeah, I mean, that's like I said, I don't consider myself to have an unlimited budget.
right, exactly.
I don't want to. I could, realistically, I could go out and afford pretty much anything I want to do if I wanted to do it. I wouldn't have that pushback, but it's just not something that I want to do. I like doing what I'm doing and just go out there and, have a good time and, keep it to where it's fun. And, I may get another car one day and, go faster. We all get that urge from time to time, but
oh yeah,
if I can win in this one, if I can do that and, win some races and make a good showing, and, you never know, I might graduate to something else, and who knows, but, the big thing is to learn and make something work. If I can't make this car work and learn to drive it, then, ain't no sense in buying $100,000 race car and suck equally as bad. So,
that's wise right there. That is very, very wise. Had a racer tell me that when I was a little boy. I don't know if you ever heard of Bobby Warren or not.
I know
but he's a legend in NHRA stock and super stock racing. Yep. And people always say all you can do is, Chevrolets or this or that. And he said, boy, he goes, the pistons go up and down the same way as they used to. What he meant was combinations, each one likes it a little bit different, but you have to work on it to see what it likes. That was his point. His point was you just don't throw money at it. You have to figure it out and work on it. And just like you said.
Well, it is. And like I said, I'll spend more time and, my after work therapy is going in the garage and figuring out, what I'm going to work on. I go out there and it may be nothing. I might, I'll go hit the practice tree some, or I'll go out there and, go tinker on the carburetor or go tinker on, run something, just check nuts and bolts. And I'm going to pull my car out of the garage. It's in the trailer right now. I'm going to put it in the garage this weekend and go through it, get it up on the stands and check all the nuts and bolts. And it's, completely unacceptable to me to take it to the racetrack and have to go work on it.
Right.
There's a race and, I've had problems like everybody else, but you go up there and you make sure all your nuts and bolts are tight, make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do. And, at the end of the day, you go up there and all you got to worry about is driving the car and having a good time. And that's what you want to do at the track. You don't want to have to work on one if you can help it.
Right.
It happens to all of us, but I know guys that they won't pull their car out of the trailer for 6 weeks and then take it to the track and it won't crank, battery's dead, tires are flat, and man, it's a lot of work trying to get this car going. I'm like, yeah, better you than me, bro.
Good luck. You miss a spot,
That just ain't enjoyable to me, man. It's like, I've done my share of some of that stuff, but we all have, but that's not what your goal. If you can do it at the shop and, do all the little maintenance stuff and then just go out and concentrate on having fun and winning some rounds. So that's good.
Yep. It's one less pressure on you. It is definitely one less pressure when you go to the track.
Well, if there's enough pressure on you as it is when you're trying to do your job as a driver. And, if you're worried about whether the car's going to go in gear or your shifter cable's going to, the tie wire is going to come off of it because you got a tie wrapped underneath there, or, it's all the crazy things that go on. Or, if your tire's going flat because your valve stem hadn't been replaced in so long and you wonder if you got enough air to get down to the end of the thing. That ain't no fun. How you going to cut a light when you're worried about whether or not you can even get out of the burnout box?
Were all these things this year, or is this just a kind of a cumulative? Because I think I've heard a couple of these already this year.
Oh, they've been. I hear them all the time. I'm like, dude. I mean, come on now. It's not that hard to go and put a nut on the end of the shifter cable. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't name no names, but I know a few of you. Probably know some of the same people.
I was thinking that. I think I know a couple.
Some of the issues, So, oh, my battery's dead. I'm like, well, okay, when was the last time you charged it? Well, I don't know. I'm like, well, that's probably what it is. So,
Yeah.
and it just adds stress to your already stressful run. So,
Right.
True.
Well,
it's fun. It gives you something to talk about. We all have stuff we can talk about in, bench racing and all that.
Oh, yeah.
All
Oh,
cool.
my goodness. Yes. That is so true. It's never
Change either. So,
ending.
we got plenty to talk about next year or whatever. So it's all the same stuff, but it's all good.
Oh, yeah.
well, I'm actually going to bring up next year. After winning the championship this year, how much more confidence does that give you for the 2024 season?
Well, it does. It gives me a lot of confidence. I actually have the confidence that I can run with anybody, and I haven't proven all of that yet. But I mean, you said there's guys that still got my number, like some of them that got your number and stuff. But it's at the same time, it used to be I'd get worried about who I was running, and I'm like, hey, it's it don't matter. I've lined up. I've had the opportunity over this last year or two to race some pretty tough customers, and my attitude is that they got me, and I'm gonna lay down the best lap I can and let them get around me, and that's I've raced Tim Butler a couple times. I've come out on the short end against him, and he's a Division II champ. I raced him just recently, and he's as tough as they are. But I raced him at I was in the 4th round of the New Year's Nationals, and I got him, and I had him on the tree. The announcer had me put on the trailer before we even staged at Motor Mania's guy. He said, yeah, it looks like Paul's going to be going home. And I had Butler. Butler was trip, zip, dead zero the round before, sitting on the bye. I come doodly bopping around with my second entry, and I had him in 4th round, and I was like, yeah, this ain't looking good, but he don't know who he's running. So I gave it my best shot. I had him on the tree by 3 thou and got down there and broke out 1 thou, took the finish line, and he was dead on, and I was like 1 thou under. It was a good lap for me.
Good race.
I just about put his butt on the trailer, and to do that and be able to race that quality of a caliber of a guy, I mean, he did everything he needed to do. I gave him my best shot, and it came up a little short, but it could be this next weekend when I line up against him, and it could be different. So that's what we're planning on. But that's part of the game, and like I said, I've got confidence going in that I've got a big target on my back too. I know that, and there's nobody's going to be overlooking anybody, so I get that too, but it just brings the game up. I'm excited about it, and we're going to be running some races during the November and December time frame, and I've gotten some opportunities to race some big money races that I've never done before, and we'll mix it up a little bit and see how that goes, and I'll sling it out there and see what happens, and it'll be exciting, that Rob Reynolds race and stuff. I'm going to be hitting the bottom against the box cars in that event. So we'll see how that pans out. And I'm up to the challenge. I'm going to keep tightening up my tree and see if we can put the little orange Maverick out there and maybe get some win lights. I didn't make the no box side of things because I was 12 minutes late for the entry. I think all the at 9 o'clock were gone like by 9:01, and
yeah, they were done. They were full.
I was in the middle of a project that I about time I was waiting to get in there at 9 o'clock for that entry, and I got on like 10 after, and they were sold out. I'm like, whoa, that went quick. But yeah, we'll get in the box side of things, and like I said, we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll run a box or I'll probably hit the bottom, and because I feel like I'm more comfortable with it. But if I can get on a roll, it could be a good day, So that's the way I look at it, and we're gonna have fun either way. So I'm up to the challenge. We'll have some good times and see what happens. I never raced that. The biggest race I've ever raced was that 50 grander at Bristol for the foot brake challenge, and it didn't do real well up there, but it was a lot of fun, man. You get up there and some of those guys, and just, you know, to be able to mix it up with the big dogs is just exciting. I've raced, you know, against I raced against Matt Daddis earlier in the year a couple times. He beat me both times, but you know, you got to race those guys. One of the sayings I always say is, if you want to be the best, you got to learn to beat the best, and you ain't gonna beat them if you ain't running them. So,
yep.
it's
And that's the good thing about the bracket finals, because you know you're going to start off running the best of the best of Division II in the race of champions.
Yep. So it'll be good. Like I said, if I can continue and build on the momentum that I've had all year, and not screw the pooch and fall out the car and all that stuff, I think we'll have a good event. I really do. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, in regardless of what happens, we're gonna have fun. But I'm just gonna relax and do my thing, and it don't matter who's in the other lane. And that's the way you got to look at it. If, you know, they don't know me, I don't know them. But if I do my job, I'll challenge them to get inside of me, and we'll see how it happens. You know, and it's all about getting on a roll, and you know, see what happens. We had a good day at the last race in Gainesville. You know, I knew what I had to do, and it was, I see D's doing, do not screw.
Okay, I guess it's funny. I totally hear him saying it too.
Yeah, D knows me. He knows I say that a lot, because that's we're gonna try not to screw the pooch. So we're
picture D.
because then he's gonna at me if I don't when I get back there and I've done messed up something. So I got my
Paul,
buddy hang with me.
Phil told me something when I ran my ROC in 18. Okay. And how he just came up to you, obviously, you know how Phil talks. He came up, pat me on the shoulder, and he said, just keep doing what you've been doing all year, and then walked away. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I got his point. His point obviously is, I know, obviously talking to you, knowing you're not going to change what you do. And some people I know get in that situation, and like you say, they look around and get mentally overwhelmed. So that's something I've always shared back. He shared it with me. And then I told him up in Rockingham when he was in ROC, I walked up, said the same thing to him, and Monica and all that stuff. So I'm saying it to you too. Just keep doing exactly what you've been doing. Stick to your game plan. Let the chips fall where they may.
I've stuck with it the whole year. It's been, like I said, overall, it's just I can't get over the expression of how amazing this year's been. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I went the year before. 2 years ago, I finished number 8 in points in Gainesville, and I thought, man, I finally broke through. Maybe top 10. To be in the top 10 at that track is just amazing. I thought, man, I really got this thing going on. I've finally figured this thing out. And I go up the last year, and I was really close to being really good, as I like to put it, because I sucked a lot. I would be 002 red. I was given the stripe back 002, and then I ended up from a number 8 finish to, I didn't even make team 2 at the game at last year's bracket championship. So I wasn't even in until the last day. I was like number 30, or I went from 8th to like 30 or 35th in points, and I was on the outside looking in. I didn't have a spot, and then they called me like the day before we were to leave to go to the finals, and hey, somebody dropped off of team 2. Would you like to go? I'm like, I'm there. I'll take it. So I took it, and I had a great bracket finals at South Georgia. Like I said, we got down to 14 cars in pro. I drove my butt off, I thought, and like I said, it was a good experience. Everything was great, but all of a sudden, all the things that I was doing, and I was really close to figuring it out, it kind of started clicking. I hit the tree right. I wasn't killing it. I would, hit it where it's supposed to be. I wasn't going red. And then, I was driving. I wasn't giving the strike back. And it's the combination of things that, that we all have to go through that process to learn. Y'all guys have been doing it a lot longer than I have. And it's just, it's just a learning curve, and you got to get it. But last year at the bracket finals, it felt like that was my turning point, where all of a sudden it's like, well, I had some breaks go my way. I beat some pretty heavy hitters. that round, that in that main event, which was really super cool, and it had a good showing. It had a blast. That was the main thing. We were just having fun, and I had the Gainesville crew was cheering me on because they're like, "Holy crud, you just beat so and so, and he's a track champion, and blah, blah, blah. You just put him on the trailer." I'm like, "Yeah, that was pretty cool. What do you think of that?" You didn't even know who it was. So.
And I'm over there looking at what you run. If you drop dead 2 or something like that, that's all I'm looking at. I don't care who you're running in the other lane. And I was like, man, that was solid. Okay. You know what I mean? Oh, he held this, or it's like going, okay. You know what I mean?
We were knocking it down. I was making good laps and everything. It was so much fun. And then I said it just continued on. When I went from the bracket finals, I went to the New Year's race at the beginning of last year. Like I said, I was carrying 2 entries into the 4th round, which was, against some of the baddest dudes out there. Of course, Daniel Young's he's like kryptonite in that car of his. He's whipped my butt so many times. I took a train load against him in the first entry, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And I'm looking at him, and he's just feeding me stripe, and I'm like, I said, "Man," I had him on the tree and everything, and I was like, "Man, I can't believe I did that." And then I got up against Butler. I said, and then I ended up losing both of them, but that crowd up there is tough. So, again, if you're going to get good at this stuff, you got to race the best in your class. And all them guys are top notch. We got a bunch of them at Gainesville that are top notch. And like I said, and just to be exciting to, even be able to be a part of that conversation is, go ahead. Yeah. Don't tell me.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
Yeah, that was
your thing.
But yeah, it's just to be a part of it. Like I said, some of these guys have just been out there racing for so long, and just to be able to learn from them and to be able to follow and do what they do is just a super cool thing, man. It's just incredible. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on here tonight and, just talk about it. It's just, like I said, the whole experience has been surreal. Maybe we'll get to do it again sometime. And, that's what I'm looking forward to. But if we don't, if it be the only thing I ever do in my life, it'll still be cool. So,
right.
We just have to take it one day at a time and see what happens.
Well, I'll look at it this way. If bracket racing wasn't fun, why do we see guys like Bo Butner and Jed Coughlin jump into some of these big money races? Because it's fun and they love the sport.
That's the part that a lot of people that aren't bracket racers don't understand, is that you got guys that are pro racers. To me, bracket racing is in its heyday. I mean, where are you going to go and race for a darn $1 million in an event, or even at a $400,000 or $500,000 payday? And you got guys like Butner. I was at the SFG last year talking to Jeg, and Jed Coughlin and I were talking about his car, and he's like, "Hey man, come on up here." He goes, "Let's go." He was wanting to see Kenny Underwood run. So he's just, "Hey man," not blowing me off. He's like, "Man, just walk up there to the start line with me." And I'm like, so we walked up there together like he's known me for 20 damn years, And me and Jeg are sitting at the starting line watching Underwood, because him and Underwood are real tight. And I'm just like, I said, "Man, it's cool." He's like, "Man," he goes, "Yeah, my wife's fixing to come up in the dragster. Let's stay up here and watch her." And so we're just hanging out there at the starting line at the SFG Christmas race. And it was like we've known each other for 20 years. And this dude, he's a multi-time pro stock champion. And I'm like, I'm flattered. And I've talked to Butner, I've talked to them, and Dave Conley, and all these guys that are just, household names in the pro racing world. Man, they mix it up with us, man. And that's just, to be a part of that is just amazing. And it's just all inspiring for somebody that's kind of a newbie, like I kind of feel like I still am. And, just to go up there and to be able to go to some of these events and just, be around some of those guys, it's just cool. And then you get these young kids that are just absolutely amazing at what they do. They can, the Gage Birches of the world, and these guys that are just unbelievable in a race car. And, just to be able to, watch what some of these guys can do, and the talent they've got is just incredible. As we've alluded to, the guy that just won the million and all. I mean, there's just a bunch of them out there, and it's just fun. It just makes it exciting, and it's for someone like me that is challenged by that, I step up my game, and I want to be the best I can be at it, and and just have a good time. We get the car the best we can, and try to do the best I can every day when I'm in it, and see what happens. And so far here recently, it's been pretty good. So we just keep on trucking with it.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm going to try to do my best. I'm going to try to reach out to Cody and see if I'm able to give updates of what's going on Saturday during the bracket finals. I'll try to get some pictures in the pits posted up on the pages as well. I can do that for our division, for Division II. I wish I could do it for the others, but I just don't have the funds to get around or the time to go to all the other divisional bracket finals. I think this weekend, Division I is doing theirs, or it might be Division I is doing their last Lucas.
Vegas is doing theirs this weekend, isn't it? I don't think what were they, Division 4 or 5?
No, Vegas is, I want to say 7.
Okay.
I want to say Vegas is 7 because I think 5. I think Kansas was 2 weeks ago. I think.
Yes, and Brandomir.
2 weeks.
Division 3 was at Indy. That was last weekend or the weekend before.
Okay.
I think it
was five is done because Brandomir track won the championship.
Okay, I just don't know about 4. I think 6 is done already too. I think I lose track of it too, just like you guys. But yeah, it ought to be good to say the least.
Well, heck, hopefully Gainesville can put another. Maybe we can get somebody else to go to Vegas. So it'd be a cool thing, So we get up there.
That would be good.
George do that last year. I thought that was cool, and I said we gave them a good run. And Bradenton's got an extremely talented team.
They do
good. Aaron Reynolds, I think he runnered up, and he's racing for us this year. So he was in the final against Butler at Pro. So he's going to be right.
Taco truck? Was he in the taco truck?
Taco truck. Yeah.
He was? Okay.
Yeah, I raced him earlier in the day, and in a gambler's race, and I gave the strike back 110 thou against him. We had a heck of a run. We were watching each other all the way down there, and he's a good kid. He's solid on both ends of the track, and he's a good, solid young man. He's really good. I'm glad he's racing for us this year. So
yeah, really. I'm glad you guys, Mike Gaffney, and all that stuff. I'm glad.
Yeah.
To say the least. I mean, there's other racers too, but those guys.
Is long. Like I said, we got a good team, man. I'm looking forward to it, and man, we ought to be able to make some noise up there. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about the opportunity, and I'm gonna certainly do what I can do and try to represent in the Race of Champions. And like I said, we're just going to let it rip and see what happens. And if I do my thing, it could be a good day. So it's just a matter of taking it one round at a time. It's what I've been doing all year. So exactly. We're going to try to just not worry about anything but this round and coming up and get her done.
Well, it's like all of Gainesville ROC reps. You got plenty of support. Anything you guys need or gals need, somebody there is going to be there to help. So that's really good because we can see we got Brett in Sportsman, we got Mark in Super Pro, you're in Pro, Jeremy's on motorcycles. I don't remember all the juniors representatives, but we got several juniors being represented too, to say the least. But I mean,
Mark Horton's been he's been a supporter, mine. I've talked to Mark on, I consider him a friend of mine, and he's been real helpful whenever I've needed anything. He's given me advice and stuff like that, and he's one of them guys that he's one of those guys that you add to the list in Gainesville. He can beat anybody at any time. He's a real deal. So
yeah, he'll
do real well in the Race of Champions for sure. I look for him to, get up there and represent where Brandon left off. So that won't surprise me a bit if he goes all the way, because he he's definitely deserving, and he's a heck of a racer.
Oh, he earned it. He earned it coming from a behind like you did and winning. I think he won by less than a round is what I believe the final count was in Super Pro.
It was close. I think John Dwayne and I, because John won all the way, and I had to make the ladder round. And I think when they did the drop, because I dropped 30 points and him and Gaffney only dropped 20. And so they took 30 off of mine. So that closed the gap to like 7 points. I think at the end it was less for us.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize it was that tight. I earnestly didn't. I thought it was 2 rounds. I thought you had 2 rounds.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the final thing, but my calculation, it had it like 7 points. So John and I talked about it. And
okay.
John aired it out, man. John's another one of them guys that I got all the respect in the world for. He's a good friend of mine, and he's helped me out more than I can count. And I got nothing but kudos for that guy. But I knew for a fact it's like we're racing for this thing, and he'll be there at the end. It don't matter. He's going to be there. I just got to make sure I'm there because he was there. So.
Well, and that's how you want it too. I mean,
well, that's it. I mean, I said it means more to me, honestly, that way. I wouldn't want it on a technicality or anything like that. And I told him the same way. I want it fair and square because he's a friend of mine, and I don't want anybody to think that I got this thing somehow other than earn it. And
right.
But he made me earn it. There ain't no doubt because he's that's the kind of racer he is, and. If he gets his car back the whole year next year, he's going to be probably the guy to beat because, he didn't have he messed his car up earlier in the year and kind of cost him some points. But I might not be sitting here, but he's going to be the guy that's the one to handle next year. So I'll try to be right there with him. So see if we can do this thing again.
Well, he'll bring his green car back out. That's the one he's getting the motor for, right?
Well, the green car is ready to go. He just ain't got no laps on it, but I don't know if he'll bring it to Carolina or not, but it's ready to go. It was ready for the last event, but he just decided not to run it. But
he had some other laps in the other one. Yeah,
exactly. But the other thing I thought was cool was, and I probably mentioned it, is that I got voted the most improved driver for the track at the banquet. And
you had my vote.
Honestly, that meant as much to me as just as much as a championship. I tell you, for somebody for your peers that vote that stuff to be able to say that, it meant a lot. I thought it was cool. I told a lot of people that same thing. It just they just all inspiring. When you got guys that that I look up to, and they actually would give you an honor like that and say, hey, you're doing a good job. Thumbs up and that kind of stuff. I thought that was real cool, and that capped off my night, man. It was like just overall, you just couldn't plan it any better. I don't know what else to say about that, but it was amazing. And like I said, to be in the same banquet, same conversations, and all that stuff around a good group of racers like we got is just super cool.
Well, Paul, I appreciate you coming on here tonight with us and talking about your experience this year in 2023. And everyone's going to be looking out for you 2024. Like you said, it's lonely at the top. That's what you say.
Well, so. Oh, no, I have to find out because I've never been there, but I'll let you know.
But it's all right. Like I said, you earned it, buddy. And
they say it's harder to, it's hard. It's easier to get there than stay there, as they say, and that's probably true. I don't know. I don't know about that either. So it's all kind of new to me. But hey, we're going to enjoy the ride and enjoy everything, and we appreciate y'all having me on. And it's definitely cool. And D-Ray says it's more lonely at the bottom. So okay, but. Else.
D. Oh my goodness.
He's nuts for nothing. He's
yeah, I know.
He
D is a ball, man. Ever since I met him several years back, I mean, he always has me rolling, no matter what.
Yeah, he's a damn doctor. He's a nurse anesthetist. This dude,
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Can you imagine him handling laughing gas? It's just incredible, man. It's got to be a dang joy to be under anesthesia.
I was getting ready to say, but just to hear his just knowing D like we do, and just how he carries himself and his mannerism, how laid back he is. You know what I mean? Just
come around in the pits at Carolina after he's had a few drinks. And
I have,
yeah.
I have, and oh man, I come unglued laughing at some of this stuff with a straight pan face.
Oh, he comes stuff now. He's like the trackside entertainment, man. It's
I mean, just and Mitchell in particular situations, I've seen him like Paul was saying. I mean, he had no expression. He wasn't laughing or giggling. He was perfectly fine, and he would just start just laying out funny stuff with a straight face, and then go over and talk to somebody else and it was absolutely hilarious. And he's, I mean, just to see him do it, it's like watching a Stephen Wright skit.
This guy,
he's cracked me up a couple of times.
Oh yeah. I didn't know if he was joking or being serious or straight or whatever like that. And of course, catching on, he was joking. But just to see him do it, I don't understand what you mean, Paul. But hey, Paul, when you go up, you and the gang, I think we're on Instant Messenger together or something like that. Not that you can have to, but if you can like hit us up, because I'm going up Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay. And I mean, if you go up earlier, just let us know, you got there or we're on the way or something like that. So we'll know where to look.
But it'll be a good time, man. We're looking forward to hanging out with y'all, and it's just gonna be a great time, and I'm stoked. I'm so stoked. I'm ready to go now. But
we're gonna do it now. I'm gonna put a camera in your car, at least for a time run. Okay, I'm gonna get a camera in your car, and I'm gonna try to get one in Mitchell's as time allows on time runs. So I want to start getting some in-car videos of a lot of the racers, and as I get more brackets and stuff like that, be able to put them on different cars. Let's put them on Jeremy's motorcycle, because that would be extremely cool. Watch him on the Harley with the camera on it. That would be really cool. But
I'd like to see that myself. That'd be very cool.
Yeah, so I'd like to definitely do that. So if you're game for it at some time,
I'm game. I'm game for all sorts of stuff. Shoot, we'll talk me in here to getting on this thing and talking.
Actually, that was all Mitchell. Mitchell did that.
I appreciate y'all inviting me out here, man. It's been a good time.
Of course.
No problem, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Nice to have you.
Yep.
Have a good one, Paul. Thank you, buddy. And good luck.
All right. Thank you now.
We'll see you in in a week.
In a week, yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
Take care, buddy.
Good night, y'all.
Night.
Good night. There goes Paul. Man, what a great interview with Paul tonight.
A good
remarkable
genuine
season
guy
that he had.
Genuine guy, genuine racer, and an exceptionally good racer on top of that. I mean, he really is. He really is. He's sincere and good guy, just like you saw there. That's how he is all the time.
And before we go, Robert, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this weekend's NHRA race that's going to be happening. St. Louis, man, the points is getting pretty tight. Doug Coletta, he's still looking good, and he may be on his way to his first championship in Top Fuel.
I really hope he does get it, because he's been close several times through his career, and I would really like to, because I mean, obviously we know what happened to Scott many years back, and he was on the threshold of a championship or two in his career, and so it'd be good in the Coletta family, Coletta to earn another championship. So I wish him the luck. I'd just like to see it, just because of the history and lineage, and Morton earned it. I mean, exceptional driver, good tuner. I mean, he's well-rounded.
Yeah, he's paid his dues.
Very much so.
And I know as much as Steve Torrance wants to win another championship, his fifth. I really believe the other racers in the Top Fuel class would be very happy for Doug finally winning a championship. Now they're not going to give it to him.
Agreed.
He's going to have to earn it, but there would be a lot of congratulations from a lot of teams after that. And then you look at Funny Car, you see Robert Heights now taking the points lead from Ron Capps, really close, and I really do believe that's going to come down to them two. One of them two is going to win the championship. And man, I tell you what, Ron, he has been doing such a wonderful job as a new team owner, and with the success that he has had this year.
I agree. I think he's done an excellent job, and to be able to switch hats like that, from going from primarily a driver in a team over to owning. So now you have not only the responsibility that is required as a driver, not only physically, mentally staying in shape and sharp with your abilities, but then, like you said, putting a team together. You know what's needed for a team, but finding a team that works and gels. As you know, you can have people that are really good in their field, but they just don't work well together. So that team will not work. So clearly he's worked that out, plus the financial with the sponsorship and the logistics and everything. I can't imagine trying to put something together to that caliber, but he's clearly done it and it's working. And something else I was thinking about, I like about Ron Capps is I like people that go and have an old school vibe, an old school flair on things. And he has driven some nostalgia funny cars out on the West Coast for the Bakersfield Fuel and Gas Meet, I believe, and some others like that. And he's driven some of them, and those cars are, while not as quick, they have their own challenges for driving, and he's jumped right in and did them. And I think he's driven a couple fuel alters too. So I think Leah Pritchett, I believe, has done the same thing in her career. So I like that aspect. It makes a driver even more rounded. And the fact that he just has that drive, and he wants to go drive something else, even nostalgic, whatever it be, he just has that drive. He just enjoys the sport so much. And it shows. So he's, like I said, it's going to be a fight. And that's the good part about it. But to see where he's come from with a new team is really good.
And another class that you're seeing a really good fight go down is in Pro Stock. With KB Titan Racing and Elite Motorsports, which I was really surprised, the poise that KB Titan Racing showed in the final. Erica gets eliminated in the semis. And so that put her out early from being able to take the points lead. But then you have both KB Titan Racing cars running against each other, and Greg, he takes the stripe and he wins. And he actually hurts his own teammate by taking the win last weekend. And it made the margin, I think only 4 points is separating Glenn from Erica Anders. No, sorry, Matt Hartford.
I know what you meant.
Sorry.
But when you think about it, when you have the true diehard Pro Stock fan, they will appreciate this a lot more than somebody taking team orders. We've all seen it. We all understand how it works with teams. And a lot of times you take a hit for the better of the team. But when you have two team members literally duke it out and race it hard and earnest, and the winner take it, and even though it can hurt you, that earns a lot more respect with fans, a lot deeper and longer in the long run. And I think it's better for the sport. I know I totally understand the circumstances and possibly the consequences of doing that. But it shows the competitiveness and the honesty and the earnest and the fact that you desire that you both want it. And that's how it should be. I mean, you throw down and see who comes out the winner.
Right. And, I could pat both of them on the back for demonstrating that last weekend.
Exactly.
And I hate to see someone overtune a car or undertune a car or take a red light, to help their teammate out. And
we've all seen it. And some of it is so blatant as day, and it just leaves a bad taste in a lot of fans with a lot of fans.
Right.
But this, like you said, they both threw down and ran hard, and that's the way it should be. And I have more respect on that than anything.
Yeah, and we have seen most of those actions take place when it came to the nitro classes, more than anything. That's where we've really seen those type of things happen.
Oh yeah, there's videos out there still of it. You can go search on YouTube and still find a lot of the controversial moments, shall we say?
Right, and I must say, sorry, we're getting spam on our live feed here. So if you're getting hit up, please ignore it. But talking about Pro Stock Motorcycle, Gage Herrera, he's looking pretty good, and he's probably going to ride off with the championship this year. But I'll tell you what, Matt Smith, he is doing his best that he can possibly do to catch him and retake that points lead. He's already took it away from him once, and I guess it basically boils down to what happens this weekend in that class.
I like him. I like Matt Smith. I do, because I followed him since day one, and I followed his father, Ricky Smith. But his work ethic, he and his wife work ethic is from what, just like I said, I don't know him personally or anything, but their work ethic is really, really admirable and hardworking, and does what it takes to be there, and it shows as far as I'm concerned. So I like that. So we'll see.
Well, I respect Matt for what he has done with Mike Salinas, his daughter, on the bike.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Gianna has improved so much this year. She just looks like a totally different person, and a lot of that has to do with the hard work of Matt Smith guiding her through this year,
and his wife.
Yes, and Angie as well,
and his wife. I mean, so you have basically two teachers, you know what I mean, there to help you, with both of them with absolute experience, but one of them from one side, possibly one of them from another, and it balances out well. So you really, that's actually the better way of having it for a young lady riding that kind of bike.
Well, and if you was watching, I think it was I forget what race it was. I don't know if it was this weekend or the weekend before last, but Angie is behind her, getting ready to do her burnout in the burnout box. And she goes on and she wins first round. And Angie's jumping up and down on her motorcycle, just so ecstatic for her for winning a round. And I'll tell you, she may be a tough competitor come next year. So a lot of people better start taking notes.
Oh, they are. They are. You know how it is. More people watch you than you think. So, yeah, believe me, they're all keeping notes, and they're keeping tabs, and the statistics are out there on reaction times and the split times and all that, what's in consistency and all that stuff. So, yes, there's people behind the scenes running numbers.
And another rider that's been pretty impressive this year, and she's actually winning a couple of rounds here and there, is Kelly Klotz. She's got the new body on the motorcycle now, and I tell you what, it looks super sweet. Nice scheme.
Oh, I haven't looked at that. I haven't seen
Steam Fitters Union, sponsored.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I didn't realize that was her. Okay, I saw a picture of it. Yeah, that is a good looking bike.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. And
I wonder how much the new body picks them up.
What's that?
I wonder how much the new body picks them up.
I don't know. You look over there at Gage that's running that new body style, and he's just plain out laying it out week in and week out, fast times. And so I don't know if that slick body. I mean, of course, it's got probably a little bit more aerodynamic advantage.
Yeah, they wouldn't have it if it did. I did just curiosity, because I don't know. It's just how much of an advantage it is. Obviously, I'm sure it changes the balance on the bike a little bit, and they have to move some weight around and stuff to get the balance right. But I just wonder how, comparing the two, previous to the latest design body, what it picks it up and where. It might be only something like, I'm exaggerating when I say mid-range only top end league. I don't really know, but I'm just saying I'm curious. I wonder.
Well, it's one of those things. Maybe I can get Eddie Craigwick to come in one night and talk a little bit about that, or any of the Hines guys, because that's some good questions to ask them there.
And also, I would like to know how, and I don't mean this to sound as basic as it is. How do you ride a pro stock motorcycle? And I don't mean like obviously you get on it and you hang on. I don't mean it like that. Obviously, there's a mental state to it and everything. We understand a lot of that aspect, but I mean, really, it's like, do they release it off of a thumb for the clutch, which I believe they do? Okay, do they release it off the clutch? How do they hold their hands in the thumb controls? Is it automatically RPM shifted, or do they have to? Which I believe it is RPM shifted.
They have to push a button.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. They have to push
is there where's the shift light at? I mean, and obviously they're tucked down, and so they're not sitting on their chin looking out the front. I'm assuming they got like a peripheral out the top and partial off. I'm assuming it's something like that, because I mean they're tucked in tight. They're not moving around, like they're taking a tour down the road. And at what point do they position themselves farther back in the seat? And has any of them ever come off when they've let go of the clutch? It just, come out from under them because they weren't positioned right.
I imagine some of them has experienced that.
I imagine
in the past, either going through at the time that George Bryce was running the class for people to get their pro stock motorcycles license. But, like Angel has said, your body basically has to become the motorcycle.
I believe that.
You are all part of one machine, you and the bike together. And she's a 3-time champion in pro stock motorcycle for a reason.
Yeah, they don't give those away.
No, and it is very, very hard licensing class to do. I know, knowing George Bryce over the years, you're not just going to go out there your first time and jump on the bike and make your passes and graduate up and get your license in one day. It's not going to happen on a pro stock bike.
Right.
Not unless you bring a lot of experience over from running other formats of drag racing on a motorcycle. That's not going to happen for you.
Yeah, your learning curve can be a lot less. I see what you're saying. saying.
And I've been out there when George has had the classes, and I've seen people almost get thrown off because, the body English, when you let go, you gotta tuck hard, and you'll see people that's not strong enough to tuck down real hard, and they're leaving like this, It's kind of hilarious, but it's very dangerous at the same time. I guess that's just part of the learning curve.
You reminded me of something years ago when I believe it was Daryl Alderman, the late Daryl Alderman, when he was running pro stock, and he was doing, I want to say during the Wayne County days. Actually, it was one of those NHRA programs they had in events. Anyway, he got an opportunity to ride a pro stock motorcycle, and the rider of the pro stock motorcycle got to drive his car. And I think it was at an 8th Mile track or something like that somewhere. And so guy never driving a pro stock or burned the clutch up at the I think initially, which is expected, but still got it off the line and drove it. Alderman got up there and did his burnout, and you can tell he's reluctant. He let go of it. If I remember correctly, he let go of it, and one hand came off the handlebar, and then the second one followed. Okay, and luckily when it did, it obviously killed the throttle, and it wasn't going out there fast enough. It was still in low, so obviously when he got off of it, it deaccelerated very quickly and kind of pushed him back forward. You know what I mean? And all I could think is, you guys so lucky. You guys so lucky it just didn't dump you right off the back. But they did. They showed the video and all. I couldn't believe it. But he had a lot of respect for it at the beginning, but he had a way more renewed respect for it, like I would too. I wouldn't. I have no desire to ride something like that. I mean, I have a lot of respect for it, but it's not my desire.
I tell you what, if I ever had the opportunity, I wish I took advantage of just trying it, just going through the class. not to just get the license, but to go through the class and just learn about it.
I agree with that.
Learn about how everything works, from your burnout to your staging process, taking off, and of course you got to be really quick on your reaction to the shift light, just kind of like pro stock cars. Or if you watch video of inside Greg Anderson's or Erica Anders' car or Dallas Glenn, they're already in the motion of shifting as the light's coming on. I mean, because they feel it by the seat of their pants. And you can watch that in-car video, and they're already going up the shift when that light pops on.
Oh yeah. I've heard people tell me that that style of car, but also a competition eliminator car, like a B alter, C alter, D alter, basically a small cubic inch, small block with a 5-speed in it. You know, they're lightweight, but they have a lot of low gear in them, and you have to get them out of low very, very quick, and they're shifting way before the tree. So, I mean, it's basically you let the clutch out, and at the same motion, when the car's in the air, you know, they're pulling second, they're going right to third just as quick. So I agree with you. So, yeah, it comes down to, like Paul was saying, once he gets it down, it comes down to muscle memory and feel. And it's like I would say Greg Anderson is one of the best. And Jason Line, when he was doing, was one of the best. There are others out like Eric Anders and others that have experience when Coughlin was doing it, same thing for the feel of it. And the feel is like going, you know what I mean? It's like if it starts chattering, whatever, if they can put it in the next gear to kill the chatter so it doesn't kill the run, for example, things like that. Or go the other way. If you got to overwind it just a little bit without hitting the rev limiter to get past the shake, so that when it does engage the next gear, it doesn't fall back into shake or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. And I'll tell you, if you miss a gear by this much,
I'm not saying it won't kill some ET. I'm not saying it won't kill some ET, but I'm talking about if you're racing and you still got to get to the finish line, because you never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Somebody break a valve spring or something in third gear.
True.
You know, it's going to knock some off of it, or some combination like that. You never know. Weird stuff has happened. So
yeah, you got to get back on it and try to get the most of it that you can out of it.
Oh yeah, it'd be like running a pro mod on a 10-inch tire. You know what I mean? There's going to be some wild runs, but they're still going to try to get them to the finish.
You just gave me a good idea. I need to call Wes Buck.
Hey, the only way to do that is clocks off. That's the only way to do it, because then they're going to treat it like grudge, and then that's where they get it to the finish line right there. Yeah. You know, doors, iffy. You know, put some kind of rule. Don't cross either stripe, and don't stripe your other side of your car. You do that,
right?
You're good. No stripes on one side, not crossing on the other. Winner takes it. You know what I mean?
And speaking of Wes Buck, today's actually his birthday.
Oh, really?
So, I want to wish him a happy birthday, and I want to thank him for everything that he does for the sport of drag racing. And I know they have that event coming up down there. I think it's on February 8th through the 10th at Bradenton. It's going to be a great event, and tickets are on sale right now.
Yeah. So happy birthday to you, man. You're putting in a lot of work, and it shows. It really shows all that you do for the sport. So
he definitely loves it.
Yeah, it's appreciated. It's appreciated. But I like I said, I like the pro mods. I like the top sportsmen. I like door cars, primarily. That's what I really, really like. But I just like it when they let them do big burnouts. They let them do burn downs if they're going to do burn downs. You know what I mean? If you're going to trash talk. Let them do that. Now, nothing unsafe, like, you know what I mean, trying to get over by the line to scare some, nothing like that. But just some down home, just some really good racing. That's the kind of stuff I like.
Oh, and Lyle Barnett, speaking of Pro Mod, Lyle Barnett, he's going to be racing Pro Mod at the Snowbirds.
Oh, really?
So, and possibly a couple other Pro Mod races down in Bradenton.
Who's he going to be running for?
So, I forget who he ran for last time, but I know right now they're looking for marketing partners to jump on board with them. And I tell you what, Lyle Barnett, you can put him in anything and he can
He
drive.
drives beer money, don't he? He drives beer money, don't he?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
That's who I thought. That's what I thought. I thought he drove beer money. And yeah, Lyle, like anything, like Stevie Jackson, you know what I mean? Same thing. You put a steering wheel in front of him, lawnmower or a race car, you know what I mean? He's going to compete in it and be good at it. And it is true. I like Lyle. I mean, he's a good guy and an excellent racer. But yeah, it's going to be good seeing him in a pro mod again.
Yeah. So we wish him the best of luck, and hopefully he'll find some marketing partners. If someone watches this later and hears this and they got a business that they want to get promoted in South Florida, hey, you can go to Lyle Barnett's page, and he's got all the information there to contact him by email. And I know he'll be glad to hear from someone to help him out. Running a pro mod's not cheap.
No. I can't imagine. You and I have enough budget challenges doing what we do. You know what I mean? I can't imagine trying to get that set up going. But yeah, that'd be cool. I wonder if there's going to be any changes in the rules coming up next year for pro mod, for example. I wonder. I don't think there's anything. I haven't heard anything, but I wonder. They're always messing with stuff back and forth.
Yeah, I know the one thing, Lyle, the reason why he in Elite did not race this past year is because they changed some rules for the turbo cars, and it hurt them, and they wouldn't be able to be competitive. And so that's the reason why Lyle didn't race in pro mod, for Elite Motorsports, and Richard Freeman sold that turbo program.
Was it the turbo size, or was it something to do with the lockup?
I cannot remember what the rule was per se right now. I believe I wrote about it back when it actually happened. Yeah. And you can't keep on pouring money in a program if you can't be competitive. So it becomes a business decision. And do you want to keep on throwing money in a hole and not winning? Of course, you're more than likely going to step away from that particular program that you're running in pro mod.
Well, that's where I'm a firm believer in simplifying things. I don't mean make one power adder. I don't mean it like that. I don't like
right.
It. But keep things simple. I mean, you got, I don't know how many different brakes you have for the nitrous combinations. Like a 959, you got one brake, and then for a 940 and below, you got another brake. And then you got a brake for lockup, no brake for lock. I mean, you got and that's just on nitrous side. And then turbos, right. Single turbo. I think I don't remember if they even allow a single turbo anymore, but I know that obviously they allow the duals, like dual 94s right. or something like that. And then weight brake for this versus displacement. And then you got the high helix versus the non-high helix and all these things. And I mean, you think about it, years ago in alcohol dragster, they used to have about 6 or 8 different weight brakes for different combinations. And they eliminated all that and went with just injected nitro and then screw blower alcohol. That's the only two. And I wish they would go back and allow other combinations, nitrous combinations, small blocks, different things at different brakes. Right. What I mean? So I like the versatility in pro mod. I like the different the different selections, different ideas you're allowed to do, but I still wish they would kind of open it up even more. Okay. And I don't mean like go crazy on stuff, but I'm just going to,
I think one of the things,
small block.
I think one of the things that they talked about one time, Robert, this is just hearing some discussions with Lyle Barnett on other shows and other pro mod racers, is try to find a happy medium where you have pro mod runs, running in these other different like PDRA and
agreed. Yes.
What's the other one out Midwest or whatever?
Yes. There's a Midwest pro mod group.
So try to make it where the combinations are kind of across the board for all of those classes. That way, when PDRA or the other sanctioned bodies not having a race, it gives them the opportunity to bring their pro mod into the NHRA and bring up the car count in that class. And
now the one big difference is PDRA is 8th mile.
Correct.
So they would have to know and adjust that ahead of time. As long as they had a chance to test, okay, they would, you know what I mean? I know there's obviously more to it, changing the converters and many of them, but obviously gear change is the biggest.
Yeah, definitely a gear change.
Okay, which would obviously change the load on the motor at different times, which you'd have to change the converter. So I understand there's some things that would have to be adjusted, but I completely agree with you. And that's what I'm talking about, streamline. That's what I was going with it, is exactly what you said, is to get with other associations, big associations, and to streamline, if you can, some rules. I know you can't do everything, but streamline some stuff so it allow people to be able to come over and run with you, and then on off weekends they could go run and support the other associations also.
Make it affordable for those teams to be able to do some switch outs and gear changes and stuff like that, and not really get too much into the combination of the motor.
Right, right. If you have to start changing overdrives and changing this and changing that, then that's not viable to even do. That's not even worth it for one weekend that you might get. I don't know how many hits. Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with it, but I'm all for keeping it simple, and then helping keep avenues open for racers to go back and forth, and then obviously work with each other so you try not to conflict on each other's schedules. I mean, that's never going to obviously be 100% perfect, but at least try. You know, since you don't run a full schedule at all national events with all the pro mods, then try to make sure you don't conflict with the bigger ones of the PDRA and, you know, some others. You know, I think there could be a good understanding between everybody, and where you try to work with each other instead of just swing the big bat and, you know.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. I think in the long run, you'll get more people. You'll get more competitors, more support, more racers, more advertisement, more fans. You'll get more fans that will come out to the races to follow whoever they enjoy, whatever combination it is, but whoever they enjoy. And I like that. I mean, I'm all for that.
I mean, and you got some great racers over there in Pro Mod. I mean, J.R. Gray and of course Stevie Fast, La Barnett when he's racing. And hopefully, you know, something will, with him going to Snowbergs and stuff like that, that hopefully something generates and he is back into the NHRA Pro Mod class next year in 2024.
I do wish they could change something on the weight breaks to allow older body styles in, to actually have a level playing field there. Because, I mean, 8th mile, you could get away with an older body style at least a little bit. Okay, versus obviously quarter mile, different animal altogether. But I still would like something, because something I believe, especially that class needs, is you need variety of body styles. Because right now, a lot of it just looks like pro stock with a blower hanging out, or pro stock with a longer nose for a turbo. I mean, for a regular fan or regular Joe that's just turning on TV, it's visually hard to tell the difference.
You remember back in the day, it seems like it wasn't too long ago that you had the old 57 Chevy body styles and the Willys body styles on the Pro Mod, and all the wild paint schemes that were on them. I do miss that.
That's really the part of the showmanship that I believe teams, and there's many teams out there that do that, many teams should go towards. You know, I mean, if they currently don't have a sponsor on the car, obviously you have something clean, but you need to have something that people remember. Okay, and have fun with it. You know, whatever you like, you know, whatever theme you like, or whatever, go with it. And I've seen some cars that had some very ingenious themes. I mean, like the guy at Gotham City or Gravediggers and stuff like that. But in drag racing, you're always going to remember that. And, you know, Jungle Jim, for example, you're always going to remember that. So you don't necessarily have to remember the driver, but you remember the car. And of course, the driver will come with it. But that's the kind of thing that's always, I think that's really missing now. It's like, look at Lyle, beer money. Anybody in the no prep world, small tire no prep world, knows of beer money. Okay, for example, and there's many others out there. Okay, like that, but they earned that. Okay, by racing hard and winning. Okay, but the name sticks. And so it's the same thing. I mean, I think as a marketing thing on Pro Mod, for example, or even Pro Stock should do the same thing. I mean, you should go out there and, I mean, not do a one-time thing if at all possible, because I know marketing's different, but do something like that. And that's where I really like Scott Palmer with his Nitro Stew and all that, which I'm glad he's on the mend, by the way.
Definitely.
He had a horrible wreck, but he's definitely a showman. I mean, with his top fueler and his nitro-powered Studebaker. I mean, that thing is
They don't call him the people's champion for nothing.
Exactly. I mean, he goes out there and does it, and that's what I like. And I mean, me as a fan, I've been a diehard fan since day one of drag racing. So I love history of drag racing. I love the people, the families, the character, the mechanical part of it. I absolutely enjoy that. And that's the kind of stuff I like. So, I mean, that's why I say, if you're going to have burn downs, let them have a burn down. If it, I mean, let them talk trash at each other. I mean, keep the mics off. I mean, keep it family friendly, of course, but don't be so sheltered on everything where you don't show real emotions. Let somebody show real emotions. At least you know where they stand. You're not totally corporate with everything. I'd much rather somebody, get up there and Ricky Bobby it. At least you know where they're at, But that's, like I said, that's me. That's not necessarily corporate, but at least you got real emotion and passion about what you're doing and you want to win.
Definitely. Well, I tell you what, Robert, I guess we'll end it for tonight. I want to thank everyone for coming on and joining us. I don't know if we're going to have any show on Thursday because we're all going to be prepping or heading up to Carolina Dragway, and we'll try to do our best to bring you pictures and updates, what's going on. Always like to walk around in the pits and take pictures of different cars from different tracks, not just from Gainesville, and you will see some different stuff every once in a while at some of the bracket finals.
Agreed. I'm going to try to get some more videos for myself to put on my channel, or content to put videos together on my channel. And like I said, I got to put a camera in your car too. But I still have some videos to put together for the rest of Bristol, and I got a little bit from the Tri-Fi Nationals, and then our last race at Gainesville. And so yes, I agree. I'm working on putting video content together on my channel.
Tell everybody about your channel real quick, and so if they want to come watch it, they can jump on and.
Well, it's a simple little YouTube channel I started this year. My wife and I started just for fun, just for kicks. It's Simpson Competition 2877 on YouTube. And what it is, literally, it's just a lot of in-car videos right now of me running my car at Gainesville in both sportsman and pro. And then starting to get some other racers into it also, as far as getting some videos from theirs. I got Daniel Sawyers, I got Bart Pangillian. I'm going to get you and some others. And I got some different angles. And what I just wanted to share with people is just not only just some having some fun inside the car, but also this is coming from a sportsman's side. And there's nothing wrong with having a dragster or anything like that. But us guys and gals in the sportsman classes who run the quarter miles and stuff like that, while it's not as quick as other cars, it's still the competition's there, and you can feel it and you can sense it, so you can see it. And that's what I just wanted to share. But I'm also going to start doing some videos showing behind the scenes, doing maintenance and things like that, preparing for the next season, next race, truck and trailer in my case, and things like that. But it's just a fun little channel, and I'm just trying to include everybody in it. Everybody. I mean, I want to include everybody. Like I said, I'm really Gainesville is my home track, and I really enjoy dealing with like Paul, for example, good buddy of ours, good people. And so I just want to share that with others so they can have a good time, but also that they can understand that, hey, if they've never been to a track, or if they've never even been down a track, that there's an opportunity for them to do it. And and sometime down the road, I'll take the minivan, for example, and take it to the track and show just how you go to a track, how you tech in, how you make a run, etc., which anybody can do. And so just a way of sharing and just and having fun, and hopefully people enjoy it. If you like it, subscribe, give me some feedback, good feedback, please. You know what I mean? Nothing new. And and just have fun. It's like going, yes, hey, do more of this, or hey, add this, or You know what I mean? Or somebody's going to be there in this car. If you see them, ask them. You know what I mean? And but like I said, right now it's just me doing the video, so I'm not able to do multi angles and all that. But it's expanding with the opportunities there, and of course what you're doing with your video feed at the track and other places, but at the track to start with is excellent, and it's really picked up. And I enjoy seeing those videos because not only the feedback, but also the camera angles and how you're handling it. Now you got the split camera, which is going to help a lot expand it. And then you're also handling Rob's race. And I think you're handling, is it 2 more races beyond that?
Yep. We got Rob's race coming up in November. But before that, we got the 352 shootout with Derek Putnam.
Yep.
And then in December, No One Fights Alone race that Ben Whiting puts on. And then it looks like I may be traveling to Rockingham in March. I think it's the first weekend of March or the second. I know it's before the Gators. We're going to do the live stream and No One Fights Alone race there. And Labor Day weekend will be in Darlington.
Oh, okay. Oh man, you do have a full schedule.
So
yeah,
we'll be getting around a little bit.
Yeah, but like I said, if anybody would like to check it out, there's a lot of different pictures of different racers that I've just take through the staging lanes and stuff. Not just my car, but others, because like Mitchell and others have said, we got a good selection of people, racers, and cars, and just a good variety, and it's really good to see. But it's like I said, it's on YouTube. It's Simpson Competition 2877.
Well, I appreciate it, Robert, for joining me as a co-host again.
Thank you.
This is looking like it's a routine thing. I'm gonna have to get you some shirts, man.
Well, you can do that. That's up to you. I appreciate you allowing me to come on and run my mouth a little bit about the sport that we enjoy and the hobby we enjoy. So I do appreciate the opportunity just to come here and share with you.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining tonight, and just stay tuned to our page. We'll try to do our best again to bring you some stuff from Division II finals, and we will keep on keeping everyone updated what's going on in NASCAR and in NHRA. Fun-filled weekend of racing this weekend. You've got the drag races that's taking place in St. Louis, and then Talladega for NASCAR for the Truck Series. Or is it Xfinity? I think it's just the Xfinity and the Cup Series this weekend up there in Talladega.
I've always wanted to go there. Never been. My father and uncles have been to those races. I've never had a chance to go to one of those. I've always wanted to at Talladega. That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun to do.
Oh, definitely. I tell you, I used to be a big-time NASCAR fan, and I kind of fell away from it for a little bit because my driver retired. And now I just sit back and just watch it as pretty much like a journalist and dissecting it, posting who wins the stages. It's different, when you start doing a social media page, dealing with two sports that you love. It's like you're a fan of the sport, but it's more part of you. That's kind of how I feel.
I could see that. Yeah. I mean, you're not just reporting; you're giving more insight and information about it. Yeah, that does.
And I want to shine the brightest light on the sport. Both sports. And,
right.
Not just be one out there to just write all the negative stuff, but be one out there to write the positive stuff. We got enough negative stuff in the world that's going on, so let's try to be positive about everything. Of course, I had a report about the incident with Tony Stewart with a problem with the ignition system that he was disqualified last week. They'll probably get that fixed. I have to
go back and read that to find out more detail about that.
They really didn't release a whole lot on it for me to follow up on. They just said it had to do with the ignition. part of it. So I don't know if it was something that they could use as a traction control device.
That's exactly what I was wondering.
Yeah.
When you said that, that was exactly what I was thinking. I'm like going, that's going to be one whale of a device to have a to have a traction control on an injected nitro with a centrifugal clutch in it. I mean, wow. That would be a lot of moving parameters right there to even think about, much less attempt. So yeah, I'm curious on what actually was wrong.
And if it wasn't that, maybe it was just a ignition part that was not approved by the NHRA officials.
It could have been something as simple as that.
It could be something that simple that they ordered something and they didn't know it wasn't up to specs like it's supposed to been.
Right.
That caused them to get disqualified.
There's
a lot of different reasons out there.
That's honestly what I lean towards in my thought process. At least my thought about this is that, yes, it's more of something, just an unapproved product, not necessarily anything beyond that.
Right.
You know? So we'll find out soon.
We sure will. And I guess we'll talk to you hopefully here next Thursday.
Will do, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.